Hello everyone and welcome back to Linguai, the channel dedicated to languages. Today we're going to be looking at something very important. We're going to look at some examples from the latest unit in Latin Illustrated, which is a series on my channel that I would encourage you to check out if you want to learn more about this stuff. Not only to improve Latin, but to improve your English. The first one is the Cucina. The Cucina would be the kitchen in Latin. In a Roman house, this would be the kitchen. This is a little painting of one. And we have our Servus right here saying Cucina. Now, some derivatives, as we might call them, from Cucina that make their way into English are culinary. The culinary arts are arts that involve food, and food is prepared in the kitchen. We also have culinarian, which also has to do with food because, again, food is prepared in the kitchen. And for a final word, we have kiln, which even though it looks like it is not that related and it has a K instead of a C, a kiln is about baking things, which you also do in the kitchen. Chances are, if you find a C-U-L-I-N word, it's coming from Cucina, and it probably has something to do with the kitchen or cooking, because that's what you do in the kitchen. The next word is cocus. As the Servus is saying, Ego sum cocus. Cocus is a cook. So obviously, a derivative of this is cook, both the person and the verb. Also, cooker is another one that stems off of cook. Another word that you definitely have heard before, but you might not know is from Latin, is pre-cooked. Now we can see cooked again, but pre is a syllable which means before. So if you break it apart, it's saying that it was cooked before. Moving on to the next room, we're going to be looking at this Roman centurion named Quintus, and this sentence he's saying, Mea mater et pater, or my mother and father. So mater means mother. Pater means father. Some words that stem off of these ancient Latin roots. Let's start with mater first. You have maternal. It's a fairly obvious one. It says mater right in there, and it has to do with mothers. Same thing with maternity. It says mater right in there. The next one would be matriarchy, which is a government or body that's led by a woman or a mater. Next we have the word, or the phrase, alma mater, which is something that you've probably heard or used before. So what does alma mater actually means? If you break down Latin, it means nourishing or kind mother. It's used to refer to a university or a college that someone went to, and it's actually used quite often. You will hear it if you listen, and it is straight from Latin. And finally, we have one that is similarly connected, but the connection is a little bit less. Mater, which looks just like mater except with another T, and in all of the words that stem off of that. Now going over to the left side, let's look at the words that stem from pater. We have paternal, of course, to match maternal. We also have patriotism, and of course, patriotism is the love of your country, or the love of your fatherland, you might say. Next we have patrician, and this one has the P-A-T-R as well, just like all the other ones. And it is a aristocrat or a nobleman, noble man. Next we have patron, also has the P-A-T-R, and patron means a person who gives support to another person, like a father might give support to his son. And the last one would be patrilocal, which is a more specific term that talks about how the husband takes the wife to live closer to his parents or with his parents. It's more of a technical term, but you can see pater and local, like location. Moving on, we're going to be in the same room, and looks like Quintus is saying Ego sum Filius. Filius means son, so he is the son of his father and his mother. Some words that come from Filius are filial, such as the filial responsibilities, or the responsibilities the son has for his father to his father. Affiliate, which would be to associate yourself with someone, which makes sense since a son is officially attached or connected with his father and his mother, his family in general. Next we have filiati, and this is the same word as paternity, maternity. The state of being a son is a filiati. Moving on, we have the canis, bark. So canis is the Latin word for dog. So some words that come from this are canine, as in teeth, or as in the dog. Canary, which might shock you, surprising that this is actually referring to the islands, not the bird. Conid, which has to do with dogs as well. Then we have canis canis. Canis canis is the Latin name for a dog, and it just says dog, dog. Pretty boring name if you ask me. However, now that you know what it means, it's a lot simpler. Now we're going to take a look at the location the dog is actually in. The hortus, or the hortum. The garden. A word that comes from this would be horticulture. Of course, this is more than one Latin word. It's hortus plus colo. Colo means to worship or to cultivate. So, horticulturalists worship or cultivate the garden. Horticulture is cultivating a garden. When you break down a word, it makes so much more sense. And it's a lot simpler if you know where that word came from, which is 60% of the time Latin. English, what is it? It's mostly Latin. Yes, the grammar may be Germanic, but most of it is Latin. Now, as I always say on this channel, Dicer outro sprache es orvir o porta. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And Latin Illustrated Unit 2 will be starting very soon. If you haven't already seen Latin Illustrated Unit 1, go check that out. Gracias!